Hello and welcome to this session. What we're going to talk about today is the difference between risk management and issue management, or in another term, crisis management. When it comes to risk management, what we're trying to do is to think about the things that can go wrong. Now, if we do that proactively and in advance, then we have the opportunity to develop a range of options, select the most appropriate options, and then to implement those options. And if all of our work goes to plan, we will never ever see that incident happen. I've talked about the risk management paradox before, but in this case, you probably won't see that incident occur. So what's the difference between risk management and incident management or crisis management? Well, crisis management, you're backed into a corner. How many of you have been involved in a crisis where it's all hands on deck? And so what you're doing is taking people away from their normal task, their business as usual, and you're bringing them on to manage the crisis. And of course, that's going to create a backlog. Your options are severely limited in terms of how you are going to deal with the crisis. And here's the big thing. Studies are starting to be shown that it costs anywhere around 10 times as much to deal with an incident than to prevent the thing happening in the first place and spending that money up front. So the difficulty, of course, that we have as risk managers is being able to convince our bean counters or our executive that spending this bit of money up front could prevent this happening, which is going to cost us 10 times as much, is going to have a huge impact on our reputation, is going to lead to compliance failures. Because the argument that they may have is, well, how can we ever know that this is going to happen? Well, as we've seen so many times before, this whole attitude of this will never happen often leads to disaster. So remember, ask the question, what happens if? And if you can do something to avoid that happening, then do it in advance. Now, you can't say for a certainty that event was ever going to happen, but I can guarantee you, never having to deal with that event is a hell of a lot better than having to deal with the event after it's occurred and trying to bring yourself back to business as usual. So think about making sure that we look at risks versus issues and try and do a lot more firefighting or fire prevention, than firefighting. And that way, our organisation is going to be less in crisis management and is going to achieve our objectives a lot better. So that's all for this session. And as always, let's be careful out there.